Good evening, goeienaand. Share. Goeienaand, Esther, Chantel, kan julle hoor? Hallo, klink is aan die gang. Yes, dankie. Dankie. So julle paar mense wat ouer vergadering het ek uitgevind, maar ons gaan aan. Kom ons kyk gou net iets. Goeienaand, Marteleen. Ek kan dit weer toets. Kom ons begin. So welcome to tonight's session in a circle. There's a lot of people at teachers meeting tonight, in ouer vergadering. But I do have some, I hope, valuable information to share with you tonight. So thank you for being here, taking the time. I do appreciate you taking the time to invest in yourself and to listen to me. If there's any questions, you can be free to ask now or after the session. But I think it's more valuable if people can ask questions while we're on the session. I also want to mention, maybe I should show you, that I do send out, when I send out an email, and I might be doing this on WhatsApp because I realize a lot of people don't read always their emails. But what I also added, if you do have any questions regarding anything, there's a link, and this is how it looks like. Then you can give your name, share with us any breakthroughs or wins, and you can even make a question and you can refer to a specific lesson or to anything, and then I can prepare in that regard to the for the webinar. So just as an extra point, so I did receive a couple of breakthroughs and I think one or two questions, but let's go ahead. So this is not financial advice, and this is just me sharing experiences and assisting in regards to any of the lessons that you might have done or that you need help with. So any questions or breakthroughs, you are free to share them now. You can do it in the chat box. I'll share a couple of ones so long. But if you do have any questions, if you do have any breakthroughs, feel free to share them in the chat. And whenever you cannot hear me, just let me know. So a breakthrough that I received from one of the students, and it was in regards to the identity goals. So firstly, she said she gave me a testimonial and she said, but it's simple to understand and it's practical. So the reason why you have access to that is also to assist me in showing me where I need to improve. So maybe you don't understand a certain term or a certain lesson. If you can tell me, Rowan, I don't understand, how do I do it? Then I can improve that lesson for you and for your benefit. So I was glad to hear and let me put on the light. Maybe you cannot see me. I was glad to hear her tell me that it's simple to understand and it is practical. And she told me that when you write down your goal or your vision, it's a spiritual process. And when you make time to write down your goals, you start to realize that it is possible if you break them down into perfect days. So we'll be discussing perfect days today and what the process is like, because I've realized a lot of people see the process and they do the lessons, but at the beginning it's very slow. So I want to show you when it starts being more hands-on or practical. What I've also realized, because sometimes I make mistakes and sometimes I forget to write down my identity goal. And when that happens, then I realized that I don't get as much done as I would like. So whenever I don't take the time to write down what I want to achieve for the day, then it makes me do less than I would like to achieve. And what I've also learned is that you need to find a big enough why. The reason behind your goal is probably the most important thing. Besides the process that I teach you, you need to understand why you are doing these things. Because if your why is very big, say for instance, that you knew that you would pass away in the next year or two, or maybe in the next week, or maybe you will pass away if you don't run each and every day from now until the next 2 weeks. You will make sure that you go and run each and every day if your why is I want to stay alive for so and so or for that and that reason. So you need to know the why of why you are doing it. If you have a big why, then the chances of you succeeding is either quicker or you will definitely get there. And then I've realized motivation is not the key. The key is focus, because a lot of days I don't have motivation, but as long as I focus, some days I have the most motivation and I get a lot done. Other days I don't have the motivation, but as long as I focus and I get some things done, I'm way better off than seeking for motivation the whole time. So some of my wins that I would like to share is for this year I've ran 30 kilometers for this year so far. I've increased my Facebook followers to 176. I've had 3 webinars each and every week. So far, I've had a webinar, and I believe that's a win. I didn't make an excuse for any webinar, even if there was one person on. I also have a new avenue, a new business project, and I'll tell you maybe later in a future date about that. I completed, for those of you who are on the business mastery and would like to know how to start a business without risk, without money, there's 3 lessons that I've completed so far, so you can go and check them out. Everybody here should have access to those. And then I received the testimonial. So these are my wins so far. Before I start, I like mentioning and recapping the formula for riches, because I believe it's so important and because everything I do stems from this formula. And just to sum up the formula for you, whenever you do anything or whenever I do anything, I always ask myself these 3 questions. Is it possible or legal? Can I make it happen? And do I have control over it? So if I answer yes to all of these, then I know it's a go ahead. I also use these to determine scams or not. Is it possible? Yes. Can I make it happen? And do I have control over it? And the formula, in summary, says you need to have an intent. And that's why I started this identity goal course, because this is the most important part. We all know you cannot help anybody unless they want to be helped. You can do your most, you can do everything in your ability, but if that person does not want to change, does not want, then chances are 0% or 100% that they won't achieve or won't improve. Another thing that's important is our belief. If you don't believe a thing is possible, if you don't believe you can start a business, if you don't believe you have it in you to go for a run, if you don't believe you can lose weight, this formula also falls flat because belief is just as important. If you don't believe it, it also won't happen. And then the important part is the focus part. Because when you focus, and then you'll start seeing results. So when you focus and you do what you need to do on a daily basis, then you'll start seeing results. So the power of intent. This is one of my favorite quotes by Og Mandino. It's a little book. I think the book is called The Greatest Salesman in the World. Or the greatest, there's two books, I think, The Greatest Salesman and The Greatest Secret in the World. And he said, I am here for a purpose, and that purpose is to grow into a mountain, not to shrink to a grain of sand. Henceforth, I will apply all my efforts to become the highest mountain of all, and I will strain my potential until it cries for mercy. So, unless we realize that the things that we need to implement and do, some things will require us to strain our potential until it cries for mercy. And unless we are willing to strain our potential because we need to grow, we need to remember we don't know everything, but we'll need to grow in order to have what we never had. So we need to strain that potential of ours if we want to grow into a mountain. If we don't want to become a mountain, it comes down to the belief again or the intent, and it's not going to happen. But if you do want to, there will be straining of potential along the way. And straining your potential does not always feel pleasurable unless you realize that this is part of the process and this is you're busy growing. Unless you realize that, and when you realize that, it makes it easier to understand problems and challenges and having to grow. It's the same for me with regards to these webinars. At the beginning, I was struggling to create a webinar and to speak in front of people. But the more I did it, the more I realized that I need to strain my potential. The easier it doesn't become easier, but I just think you become more competent. You become more competent. So that is such a nice quote of Og Mandino. So the power of intent. So to consciously to achieve anything. So if you want to achieve anything consciously, you must first be perfectly clear on what it is that you want. And that is why I also created that identity goals. You need to know what it is you want from the course, the identity goals course, for this day and for your life. And I'll show you how we break the course down a bit later. So your intent is more than just a goal. This is what motivates you to act. It is what makes you apply all your efforts to grow into the mountain, even in the face of challenges. So that's why I said this intent is going to become your why. You need to understand what is the big why of why I need to achieve whatever it is that you dream to achieve. And this will be your intention to live each day with intention and purpose. So when I started out, I didn't have an intent or a purpose, and I just went through my day as the day went by. And just this, if you just start implementing an intent for your day, you'll start big changes. You'll start seeing big changes in no time at all. So it determines how you will approach your tasks and also your challenges you face. So these principles that I'm addressing here, it's applicable to any vocation, any job, any business. And that's why I thought let's take a minute and discuss the identity goals. A strong intent is unstoppable. You will see that when you have a strong intent, it will filter experiences that causes your subconscious to work that works towards achieving your dreams. Now, in the previous session, I explained, and I'm not sure if all of you have heard, what is called your reticulated activated system, or RAS for short. So with this last principle, when you have an intent, you will start realizing subconsciously things that will take you closer to achieving your dreams. And I want all of you to take this moment. I'm going to give you a simple task, and I want you to show how this reticular activated system works. It's just going to be for a couple of seconds. Just close your eyes there where you are, just for let's say 10 to 20 seconds. And while your eyes are closed, or first open your eyes, sorry, just look around first in the room or where you are currently and look for red items. Look for red items. Wherever you are, just count and try to remember the red items in your room or wherever you are. Now close your eyes for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, because I want to ask you a question. So while your eyes are closed, tell me how many, or give me in your head, you don't have to do it in the chat, how many blue items did you see? Or what items were blue? Can you name a couple of blue items that you saw? And you may open your eyes now. So what the reticular activated system does, whenever you focus on something, it cuts out all of the rest. Right? So this is how the mind works. So as soon as you have an intent and you start focusing on that, say for instance, you want to buy your first property, all of a sudden, and if you make that your intent, you'll see houses for sale. You see opportunities come your way. So, but if you don't have that intent, your reticular activated system will block that out. Because your reticular activated system only lets through what you focus on. And that's the importance of having an intent. So when you set this strong of an intent, it will filter all the experiences that causes your subconscious to work towards achieving your dream. So you'll start seeing opportunities. You'll start seeing a YouTube video that can maybe teach you how to become closer to your goal. You'll see an opportunity of purchasing a property. You'll see an opportunity of starting a business. You'll speak to someone and you'll start realizing that this person might be able to assist me in this regard. So that is also why it's important to have this intent and to have it focused in your mind. So the process and the course is set up as follows. So the beginning module is the theory. It's more quiet time. As one of my students said, it's the spiritual process. So the first portion, module 1, it's about understanding and creating a dream again. Lesson 1, it's about creating and understanding how you need to desire this. Your goal also needs to be difficult because it needs to transform you. It shouldn't be an easy goal, then it's not transformative. There needs to be a time involved. You need to make certain choices with your identity goal, and there's detail involved in this goal. Things like, for instance, because the mind is so powerful, you don't have a goal that says, I don't want to be fat. It's not a good goal because your mind cannot distinguish between fat and not fat. So when you say, I don't want to be fat, your mind just hears fat. Another thing that's also important, because the mind is so powerful, your goal needs to say, I want to achieve this or more before a certain date. So if you say, I want to weigh 100 kilograms, for instance, then you are limiting yourself. But if you say, I want to be less than 100 kilograms, all of a sudden, you open yourself up to be even less than 100 kilograms. And don't make your goal on a specific date. Tell yourself in the goal, when you write it down, I want to achieve my goal before a certain date. So it teaches you those type of detail to look out for when you are setting a goal. Also important is the classes of experience. So a goal needs to be good for you, good for others, and good for the greater good. And I teach you how to assess a goal to understand if your goal is good for you, good for others, and good for the greater good. And lesson 8, after lesson 8, you'll have what is called an identity goal. So that is the process of setting up the goal. This is more quiet time. This is more you writing down. So there is either spreadsheet you can use, or you can use the copies that I made that you can print, or you can use a diary or booklet or piece of paper. This process you can do on on any piece of paper. This is where you set up and you create this goal, this big identity goal. The next step in module 2, we make it more practical. So first, what we need to do, we break that 3-year goal into a 1-year goal. That is lesson 1. Then we break that goal into a 91-day game plan. And then in lesson 3, we start measuring this 91-day game plan. And in lesson 4, we start to reflect and we journal on this process. Now, if this is not for you, because this is not for everybody, at least I would suggest, at least do this bonus lesson, the 10 environments of you, because this lesson alone, I believe, can have a major impact on anybody's life, in any area of their life, just by doing this bonus lesson, understanding it and applying it. So to show it to you in a schematic form, you start this process with this big line, with a big identity goal, this desirable goal that you can achieve either in 3 to 5 years. Then we break this goal down. So this is the first module 1. Then I teach you how to break it down into a goal that you can achieve in 1 year. Right? And because, say for instance, we're going to achieve this in 3 years, we'll be having 3 separate goals. But we first achieve this goal, then most likely we'll set a higher goal for the second year and for the third year, because this is going to take us to our identity goal. We might even achieve it within year 2 or year 3, depending on how long you believe you can achieve your identity goal. After, if we have a goal, then we turn this goal into 91 days. So every year can be broken up into 4 quarters. So there's 4 91 days in a year. So now we break it further down so we can see what do we need to achieve in the next 91 days that will take us closer to this big goal. You can also realize this is the science behind this whole identity goals course that I'm explaining to you. And after this, now we get to the fun part, is we break down the 91 days into what do we need to do today? What daily do I need to do? And this is having a day with intent. You start with day 1 and you ask yourself, what is the most important thing I can do that takes me closer to this 91 days or to my identity goal? Now, after you've answered yourself, you need to go out and do that you not less than 1 thing, not more than 3, I would say. Because this will add up over the coming days. It's not about, and if you can remember from the previous sessions, success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. So we have already achieved or we've already set a worthy goal after module 1. But now we need to progressively realize we need to become this person. We need to become this person. So we need to do what we have to today. We need to do what we have to tomorrow. But we can only do that if we have a process and if we ask ourselves, so what Rowan do I need to do today in order to purchase my first investment property? So now the first thing I need to do probably would be to go and research, maybe understand how to purchase a property. Maybe I need to ask somebody who has purchased a property before. Maybe I can ask Rowan. Maybe whatever that thing may be that you need to do, go out and do it. Tomorrow will bring new challenges and a new set of skills, because now you know better than the day before. And now today, on day 2, you can ask, okay, what can I do today? Maybe I need to see if I qualify for the property. And so you go through your day just by asking this every day, and you can tick off each and every day that you've done what you had to do. So the purpose of this intent is to achieve it. You don't set this intent just to set it. You set this intent to achieve it. So your intent for the next 90 days or 91 days, you need to choose one area of your life, and that's what I advise. Only choose one area. If you have too many areas, especially when you start out, you might lose track and it becomes too much for you to handle and you forget about it completely. And if you do not want to achieve it 100%, or if you are not willing to do whatever it takes, then you shouldn't write down what you want to achieve. And as I teach in the course, you need to make sure that your identity goal, and not the goal and not the 91 days, I'm talking about your big goal, has to be difficult to achieve because you will need to become someone new to achieve it. It shouldn't be an easy goal because it won't transform you. And that is also why I called this the identity goal, because you need to transform yourself if you want to achieve anything that is out of the ordinary. You must have an end date and you must be able to measure. You must be able to measure because this will keep you accountable, the measuring portion. So this is a calendar I gave out last year. And this is a method you can use. You don't have to use the spreadsheets that I provide, but you can use a calendar, any diary, by just asking yourself, what do I need to do today? And then you tick it off because you need to progressively realize your goal. You need to be to progressively realize your goal. So what do you want to achieve for the next 90 days or 91 days? So these are the areas in that I spoke about. So there's 7 areas that you can focus on. There's a spiritual side, your family or relationships. There's a physical, your health, your work, your vocation, financial, your social, and your mental. So those are the areas, the 7 areas in your life, and this is the areas that affect us. Then you ask yourself, and I teach this in the course, do you want to achieve it? Is it difficult? Does it have an end date? Is it measurable? And do I commit to achieve it? Right? Then, and this is the points game that you can create on a daily basis. So, because I have the type of job that needs me to make calls to clients and make appointments and receive information, but you can use this within your job, even within your personal life and within your day. If you want a perfect day, you need to determine what a perfect day looks like. It might be that I just need to do and focus on this identity goal. I just need to ask myself, what is the most important thing I can do today to take me closer to my identity goal? If this is what you feel a perfect day is like, and you've done that, perfect, then you had a perfect day. What I did, I created a game. I told myself if I called a client, I give myself 1 point. If I make an appointment, I give myself 1 point. If I receive a client's information, I give myself 2 points. If I prepare, it's another 2 points. And if I make a sale, it's 1 point. So if I want a perfect day, I need 20 points. And this is within work. This is a points game at work, but you can do the same within your life. And this makes it not just fun, but it keeps you accountable because if you have your 20 points, then you had a perfect day. So some days I might call 20 clients. Other days I don't have to call 20 clients because I've made my points with the other options. Now, just like you can structure a game like that, you can also structure a game with your personal life. So if you want, for instance, to read 3 books, you can tell yourself, I'll give myself a point for a certain amount of pages I read. And if I have read that amount of pages, whoop, I give me that point. I'm closer to my 20 points. If you want a better relationship with family, give yourself a point for minutes spent or contact made with them, because it's difficult to have a goal in regards to I want my family to love me, or I want my wife to love me. But if you make it a goal of, you break it down and tell yourself, if I spend 5 minutes with a friend, with a family, if I phone, if I email, if I contact a friend, I give myself 1 point. And then you can also keep yourself accountable and your relationships will also improve. And that's the way how you measure a relationship. And the same if you want better spiritual relationship, give yourself points with prayer, meditation, scripture, whatever area you would like to improve. And if you give yourself points for the minute spent, you can also start tracking and keep yourself accountable. So the daily task and how you break it down, you ask yourself, like, what is the most important thing you can do today to take you closer to your goal? And you'll answer yourself each and every day. Find the sales course video because I want to improve my selling. Um, on day 2, you can research business ideas. But each day, your own mind, your own question, and your own answer will assist you to finding out what you need to do today to take you closer to whatever it is that you want to achieve. So the last slide and the last couple of extra tips I can share is clearly define your intent. Write down specifically what you want to achieve, why it is important, and make sure it's achievable. Actually forgot to say earlier in the slide that your why, you need at least, I want to say 250, but at most, well, not at most, but maybe more like 500 reasons to why you want to achieve this goal. If you can write down 500 reasons to why you want to achieve your goal, then you know you're on the right track, um, on in regards to the reason on why you want to achieve it. Another tip: declare your intent. Solidify your intent by communicating it to yourself and a trusted friend or mentor. So speak to somebody you can trust that can assist you and keep you accountable. Break it down. Divide your intent into smaller, achievable, actionable steps. And this should be specific, measurable, and time bound. And create a plan and develop a detailed plan to specific tasks. Give it a timeline, use resources that you have, outline how you will achieve them, and action them. And then, number 5, take action and implement this plan. Take small steps. Any small step is better than not taking a step at all. And then, and I'll show you afterwards, monitor your progress. Regularly review your progress. As I said, some of these things, this won't be for everybody. But at least, as I said, do the bonus lesson. But the reason why I share these with you is because you need to strain your potential, and some things will not be easy to do. Some things will require constant effort because it's not always easy to open up a diary, make a list of things to do, and then to mark them off, and at the end of the day to reflect. It's not always that easy. But if you look at all the people that really achieve great success, they all have one or another system like this where they keep themselves accountable so that they do what they need to do. Stay accountable. Share your progress with the support of friend, family member, or mentor that can hold you accountable. Reflect on your days and adjust. If you see that your journey is not on course, stay flexible and remember the end goal and just adjust based on new insights and your changed circumstances. And with the stay motivated, it's rather than staying motivated, remind yourself that you need to be focused and to keep that focus. If you're not that motivated for the day, make that achievement or that daily task, make it so small that you cannot not do it. So if you would like to lose some weight and you cannot go for a run for a specific day, tell yourself, I'm going to do one squat, because you doing that one squat is making you into the person that'll exercise each and every day. Because the problem is not the running or the one squat. Maybe you should just walk for 100 meters. The problem is we're not becoming the person that can achieve it. Because a fitness, say a runner, he's not going to, and I need to use my words correctly, a runner is going to run. If somebody runs each and every day, the chances of him not running is very little. So the more you start implementing, for instance, exercises each and every day, the more you'll become the person who will not skip a workout. So at the beginning, start to get the competency of going every day, of doing the thing you need to do every day. As you get better, you'll start increasing whatever it is. And that is my story. I'm not sure how long I've kept you busy. 40 minutes. Is there any questions? Oh, I want to show you when I speak about the things that I do share with you. Let me show you the type of things. So this is the type of thing that I use to keep myself accountable. I do share this with you. See, I create a point system, and then I give me a point if I achieve it. And if I fall off and for one day or for a couple of days, I don't do what I need to. When I reflect, I realize, oops, Rowan, you're not on track to where you want to be. So, but this I also gave you. You can use a diary. You can use a piece of paper. There you can see there's a summary of it. And this is part of the process of keeping yourself accountable and making sure that you do what you need to do and straining my potential, because it's not always easy to mark off. It's not always, you're not always at home. Sometimes you're tired, but I do believe if you do implement these, you will see big changes in your life. Is there any questions? Let me see if there's anybody. I haven't looked the chat. Not sure if you can hear me even. Chat. Okay, yeah, is a chat. Chantel says I'm very weak at discipline and structure or point game. Chantel, a tip for you in regards to that. What we must remember when it comes to our intent and when it comes to the point game and our daily intent. If you, and this is a breakthrough that I had, if you're not doing what you said you were going to do, it's one of two things, I believe, maybe one of three, but the two things that I think they are either the task that you'd set out to do is above your competency. So if, for instance, you tell yourself, I'm going to run 5 kilometers tomorrow morning. If you don't run tomorrow, depending on the circumstances, because things might happen out of your circumstances, but if you don't run and you realize it's your fault, then it's either you are not competent to run 5 kilometers yet. So maybe you need to decrease your 5 kilometers to 100 meters. So make that thing smaller. So whenever you tell yourself, but I'm going to phone 10 clients and you only phone 2 clients, it might be because you're not competent. It might be you're not competent. So decrease what you want to achieve and make it easy for you to achieve. Because remember, this is your goal, this is your intent, and you need to become confident in achieving this. And you won't become confident if you constantly fail. So rather make it so easy to achieve for the first month. Make it all of your efforts, all of your points game, all of your daily intent, make it so small that you cannot not achieve it. And after a month, when you start getting the confidence and you're more competent, then you can increase it. And that is a tip that I can give you. So that's the one reason. The reason could be that you're not competent. The other reason that it could be is that it could be that you don't want it enough. Because as I said, if you want to start running each and every day 5 kilometers, but you don't want it enough, if there's not a big enough reason, you're not going to run. So you either need to get a bigger reason. Doctor must tell you, if you don't start running from tomorrow 5 kilometers, you are going to die. Then the chances are you're going to run. Or you need to decrease the running so that you cannot make an excuse not to run. When I started off running, I started telling myself, Rowan, just put on your running clothes. I really started by just telling myself, just put on your running shoes and your running pants and your running shirt. That's all you do. And if you did, then you can give yourself a point. And after a while, I realized, but my clothes are on, I might as well go for a run. But that's literally how I started it. Hi Rowan, I've been implementing the point game system. It's really helpful making mundane tasks fun. Thank you, Adrian. Awesome. I do appreciate that feedback, and that's what it's all about. This life is ours, and we need to make it as fun as we want it. So if something is not fun for you, turn it around and make it as fun as possible, and then chances are much better than just going through your day normally. Thank you for that feedback, Adrian. I do appreciate. And Chantel said, thank you. I really think it's a good way for me to start and implement. So remember, you will struggle at the beginning and it will be tough and you will make mistakes. But the mistakes are there to teach you. Listen, there's something I need to improve, and that is why I reflect. Because if I realize, why didn't I go for a run? Why didn't I call these clients? It's because something within me that I need to improve. So the mistakes and the challenges are there to teach us where we need to focus and improve on. And as long as we keep this system going, there's going to be one day where everything falls in place and you are not going to realize who you were when you started this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So all these spreadsheets, all these, I do give you access within this Identity Goals course. If you do not understand any of them, feel free to let me know and I'll clear up as much as I can. But for today or for tomorrow, if you want to start, at least do that bonus lesson. If you haven't started, do that bonus lesson and create a easy intent or an easy task tomorrow that you can achieve that will give you confidence. So choose one thing tomorrow that will take you closer to whatever you want to achieve. But make it so small that you cannot not do it. That nothing can be an excuse to not achieve it. So don't go, I'm going to phone 50 clients tomorrow. Tell yourself, I'm going to make a list of one person I can phone, for instance. And you only do that, and then you call it a perfect day because that was your intent. Tomorrow, you do it again. And if you feel you are competent, you can make that two persons with any area of your life, whether it is business, whether it is your work, whether it is your health. Start with something that you can achieve. And if you if you are still struggling with business, check out my business course. I will be updating it as we go along. It just takes time to record and to edit and to have a job and to do a lot of other stuff and have these webinars. So it does take time for me to create that content for you. But this is my story. If there's no questions, then I'm not sure what else I can teach you. There's only 20 minutes left. I hope you found it valuable because I do appreciate you taking out 40 minutes of your time to listen to me. Hello, Deborah. Thank you for making it. I appreciate it. Thank you, Miso. Thank you, Miso. Thank you for being here. I hope I provided some value to you. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, all. Thank you, everybody. I do appreciate. Till the next time. Have a good evening.